Om Swastiastu, welcome to Usada Bali. We offer our cultural, medicinal, and artistic content from Ubud, Bali. Your generosity will help support our artists, practitioners, and staff and is gratefully appreciated. Please go to www.paypal.me/usadaubud or bit.ly/donation Usada Bali to donate.
Welcome everyone. I'd like to first introduce myself. I am a yoga teacher. My name is Anouk Aoun and I have been practicing yoga for 23 years and I have been teaching yoga for the last 11 years, particularly the modules of Pranayama meditation and asana in teacher trainings and as well as teaching in retreats and public classes. And also I have been doing a long-term mentorship in Pranayama meditation and in yoga philosophy with my teacher Wendel, who is also the teacher of some of you who are watching this video today. So I also would like to start by giving thanks to Usada for providing a platform for us to share some of these sessions that are open to all. And the practice today, so today I'd like to share a second pranayama practice, particularly for those of you who found the first practice useful. So there's a new, I'm introducing you to another breathing technique, and so that ideally you can continue with a daily practice. And let us not forget that the lasting benefits of the practices of yoga come when we do this regularly. And I also have the need to clarify that yoga is not only a physical practice. We tend to think of yoga as the physical postures, but actually it comprises the physical postures, but also it is meditation. And as I see it, pranayama occupies the space between the physical practices and the contemplative practices. So, to begin with, again, it is quite important to find a comfortable seat, as I said in the first video, to make sure we have a steady and comfortable seat, and that we keep the spine upright for these practices of meditation and pranayama for obvious reasons. The one would be for different reasons. The obvious reason would be that when we collapse the chest forwards, we restrict, of course it's very easily from here to fall asleep, that's one. And the other one is that we restrict the flow of prana or energy within the body. So we want to keep the spine nicely upright. So while you remain in a comfortable, relaxed seat for the meantime, I will just introduce you to the practice that we are doing today. And it is called, or it is a version rather, of Nadi Shodhana. Nadi Shodhana is often translated as alternate nostril breath. This is a version or a variation of it that you will find a similar practice in the Tibetan traditions. And I also like to say that it is a very calming, and the way we will practice it today, it is a very calming and very balancing practice. So it can be practiced by all, pretty much. And this is how it goes. I'll just show you first, and then I'll let you know so that you set up your seat, and I will be guiding you through the practice. So the way it works, we will bring our hands, the index touching the thumb, and we'll start with the palms facing down like this. And at first I'll guide you through a short session a short guidance of heightening, or we could say of focusing attention. And then when we come to the actual practice, we will start by breathing in and lifting the right arm all the way up along the in-breath. So here I'm breathing in pausing at the top, I turn my hand in, and then I lower, I close the right nostril, and then I exhale through the left as I'm lowering the elbow down. And then I pause and I take the hand back onto the knee. And then I start with the left arm, inhaling, long, slow breath in, pause. Then in that pause, I lower and I close the nostril. I'm exhaling through the opposite nostril as I lower the elbow down, pause, and I rest the hand back onto the knee, and we start again on the other side. So I'll be guiding you through again, and it should be enough for you to follow if you listen to my words. At the end of the practice, we will just take the hands back onto the knees like this. Palms can be facing down or up. And there it is quite important to remain as still as possible, to remain in stillness. And that doesn't mean to remain rigid, but we want to relax the belly and remain stillness. So this is when the meditation aspect of the practice can develop. And as a reminder, I was explaining in the first video that the way my teacher shares and practices these breathing techniques is emphasizing them, the use of them as a tool towards meditation. And yes, there are physiological and health benefits to the practice. However, I personally find that what gets overlooked when we are looking to improve our health is the state of our minds. So this is a practice of pranayama as a tool towards meditation. Okay? So let us begin now, and please find your comfortable seat. Again, I will use this cushion. I've explained in a little bit more detail the seat in that first video, so you can refer back to that. I would like to add actually today that you can, of course, if for any reason you need to sit on a chair, you can always do that. That's not a problem. Make sure that the knees are not too far below the level of your hips. That happens, and it depends on the height of the chair. But if that's the case, you can use either yoga blocks or maybe some cushions underneath your feet as you're sitting on the chair, so that is more comfortable. And ideally, we're not leaning, again, the back to the backrest, or place a cushion in between. All right, so now please find your comfortable seat, and from now on I'm going to ask you to dedicate yourself to the practice as fully as possible, being present and closing your eyes. I will be guiding you again. It should be enough for you to follow by listening to my words. So let us close our eyes. You can take your hands in Jnana Mudra or Chin Mudra, the index touching the thumb. And then closing our eyes, we settle in the space. Settling in the practice. And so at first we bring our attention to the physical body. Noticing the shape of the body and the dimension that this body takes in space. And then more specifically, we move our attention towards the lower part of the body. Noticing how the sides of the feet, the sides of the legs, or the back of the legs are making contact with the ground beneath. The sitting bones making contact with the cushion or the ground, as we experience a sense of heaviness, we could say. a sense of being anchored down onto the earth. And out of that steady base at the lower part of the body, the spine lengthens. The belly remains soft and the shoulders remain soft. The chin is parallel to the floor or slightly drawn in, down. And now we want to take our awareness to the breath. As we become attentive to the coming and going of the breath as it happens on its own. So make sure you really relax the belly for this practice. Noticing the in-breath and the out-breath again as it happens on its own. This is a practice in itself called mindfulness of breath. Watching the subtlety of the breath. We will now, as you keep your eyes closed, we will now begin to prepare for the pranayama practice by taking a few breaths in and out, longer breaths in and out. So keeping the eyes closed, exhale all the air now by drawing the belly towards the spine gently to empty. Breathing deeply now all the way into the chest, into the back. So a more energizing breath and a long breath out. Emptying all the air out. Once again, breathing deeply, not forced, just deeply. And breathing out long, emptying one more time. Breathing deeply. And breathing out long. Starting our pranayama practice with the eyes closed. Breathing in, lifting the right arm up. All the way up in that long in-breath. Pausing at the top. Closing the right nostril. Exhaling through the left as you slowly lower the elbow down. Pausing. And then taking the hand back onto the knee. Inhaling left arm up. Lifting, long breath in, pausing, closing left, exhaling through the right as you slowly lower the elbow down, all along the out breath, pause, left hand, left knee, right arm up, inhaling, lifting the arm, pausing, closing right, exhaling through the left as we slowly lower the elbow down, all along the out breath, pausing. Right hand, right knee, left arm up, inhaling. Pausing, closing left, exhaling through the right as you slowly lower the elbow down. Pause. Left hand, left knee, right arm up, inhaling. Pausing, Closing right, exhaling through the left as you slowly lower the elbow down. Pause. Right hand, right knee, left arm up, inhaling. Pausing at the top, closing left, exhaling through the right. Pausing, left hand, left knee, right arm up, and now continue on your own. Make this your own practice, so find the capacity of your breath. So find your own rhythm, but without rushing. Just trying to take a long breath in each time and a slow breath out. And it helps to think that these arms are very light and that is almost effortless to make the movement. And the mind is fully tuned into the movement of the arms, to the breath. As you carry on, fully present for the last few rounds of the practice. Without rushing. Continuing your practice fully alert and awake. So without rushing, keeping eyes closed, after you exhale next through the left nostril, keep both hands on your knees, palms up or down, and take a long breath in through both nostrils, and a long, slow breath out. And once again, a long breath in, and a relaxing breath out. And there's no more control of the breath. Let the breath now be completely natural. So please soften the belly completely. Keep your eyes closed. The shoulders are soft and the face is soft. Resting in the pure awareness of the moment. If your mind has wandered off, you become distracted, without frustration, then bring your attention to the floating ribs or the lower part of the rib cage. Noticing the subtlety of the breath at the floating ribs. And again, each time you get distracted, we bring the attention back to the floating ribs. Again, notice if the mind has become distracted, bring it back to the lower rib cage, observing the subtlety of the breath. Now open our eyes halfway only, so keep the gaze down to the ground as you keep the body still for a few seconds. And then fully opening the eyes. So that was a short session of pranayama practice, so that you can alternate between the two practices that I have offered through USADA. And I want to say that you can do the breathing practice. You can begin doing it for about 5 minutes. Those of you who have been practicing a little bit more yoga, then you might take it to 8 minutes or 10 minutes. That's the breathing practice while you are doing the movement and breathing. And then afterwards, staying with the eyes closed in stillness for about 5 minutes. Again, those of you with more experience, you can stay much longer, 10 minutes, even 20 minutes in that stillness. And this is something that happens, we build up the practice, it happens gradually. So ideally we don't aim for a big amount of time at the beginning. That's my advice to you, so that you're not frustrated. You slowly, with a regular practice, build up. All right, and if you have any question regarding the practice, of course you can always send an email to USADA and I'll do my best to assist you. I'd like to end just sharing a little bit of observations that I have experienced in the last few weeks, the last few months, I rather say. Besides, of course, to a certain degree, being concerned about the situation, I have also been extremely grateful to have a daily practice that assists me to be at ease in the present moment. I find that very precious. And to be in the present moment with all what there is, not being lured by sides, lured or even torn by sides, by opinions, by theories. So in yoga, with these practices, we can cultivate the virtue of upeksha, it's called. So that's one of the virtues that we can cultivate with the meditation and yogic practices. And they come to us from the Upanishadic and Jain and Buddhist tradition. Upeksha means, we can translate upeksha as equanimity. And yet it is important to understand that it is not an equanimity that intends to remove us from the world, but it rather allows us to be involved with the world, but maybe it allows us to take a step back and perceive things from a larger view, from a steadiness, from a certain groundedness and ease. Yeah, so I find that quite a precious thing, and I believe that it is out of that virtue of equanimity that then other virtues can unfold, such as discernment, such as wisdom. So let us bring our hands in Anjali, in prayer, and connect them to the heart space. Let's close our eyes and bow our heads towards our hearts as a beautiful gesture of gratitude. As a gesture of respect to one another. May the benefits of this practice be not only experienced by myself, but may they also benefit all other human beings around me, nature. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. If you find our videos informative and helpful, please consider contributing to our effort.